Today I'm going to discuss a topic here, and this is just something that's kind of came to my mind, and it's been something I've been wanting to do, and that is not letting a negative experience impact your whole entire day. Not letting one bad person, one bad experience impact your day. This is so important, and it's taken me a long time to kind of grasp this concept here. As many people can relate to that have lived abroad, it's really easy to let certain action or certain outcome affect your emotions. You're often much more prone, hypersensitive to your emotions than when you're in your home country. And this could be a bad experience with a person. It could be a bad experience you had, maybe at a store or something. And it can actually wreck your whole entire day. It's very powerful. And people who've never lived in a foreign country often don't realize this. The thing is that you can't let this dictate your whole entire day and let it influence all the things that you are capable of accomplishing for that day. You think about the grand scheme of life and positive and negatives, and most anything you can overcome. These little negative experiences aren't worth getting too concerned about. Unless it's a matter of life and death, you'll probably get through it and you'll forget about it. You probably won't think about it the next day, maybe the next week. It goes away. So what's the point of letting that little negative experience affect your whole entire day? Especially if you're in the work week, if you're very busy, you have a lot of projects or a big project that you have to complete. If this is kind of lingering in your mind, or it's kind of preventing you, it's like a roadblock from completing what you have to get done, you have to forget about it. Just throw it out of your mind, because often it's just not worth losing sleep over this. When I was living in South America, I had so many difficult experiences week in and week out that I had to deal with. It was very challenging at times because I was on a limited budget. I was kind of living off a stipend. I had my parents that were financially supporting me. I was trying to be very thrifty. I had experiences like having a computer stolen, and that was a big fiasco because that was how I did all my schoolwork. I needed the computer. It was so essential. This was like 6 or 7 years ago. I have another video you can find on my channel about that experience, but it was very challenging at times. But each experience I got through, within a week or a month, most of these experiences, they didn't linger in my mind. And after 2 years, when I went back to America after living in Chile for a couple years, most of what I remembered from Chile was positive. All the like little small bad experiences that I had and endured, I didn't even think about. I forgot about it. It was out of sight, out of mind, basically. Whether it was bad experiences with people. I went to nightclubs often when I was in South America, which is something I don't do now. I had some very bad things happen at nightclubs, and those are stories for a different time, things that I could have gone to jail for if I were in the US. And most of these experiences, so the negative experiences, I didn't even think about after the fact. It was out of sight, out of mind, as I said. As I had also stated, it was mostly positive feelings that I had when I got back to the States. This is so interesting because even if you're having the worst experience, the worst moment or worst week, when you look back often at these experiences a year, maybe 5 years down the road, it doesn't feel nearly as negative as it did at that time. And it's actually replaced by positive experiences. And I think this is kind of a biological response. I think the human brain actually is able to kind of morph these feelings or these impressions in the brain into something positive. Or maybe it's the person. Maybe it's how the person perceives it after. I'm naturally a more optimistic person, so maybe my brain kind of warps this into a more positive feeling. Each time you're having these kind of experiences, you have to think about all the positive experiences that you've had on that day, that week, or that month. You can always replace this, and it's just really important to not let these negative impressions get too embedded in yourself. It will really hurt you from moving forward. If you have too many of these negative impressions in your brain, over time I think it will naturally, it can make a more optimistic or positive person and make them into a negative person. Even just these small things day after day, it kind of it morphs into how you approach life and how you see everyday life. And that's why I think one has to really keep control over these things. I mean, bad things are going to happen no matter what the circumstances. There's always going to be bad things that happen, but think of the positive people in your life and kind of how they approach their day-to-day affairs. They don't let these things override all the positive experiences and moments they've had, and generally they are more prone to highlight those positive experiences. This is the exact right way to approach life. When we think of how short life is, just approach it this way. And the other thing is that those negative experiences will probably also decrease. If you do have a negative experience with someone or in a situation, you'll be able to influence it in a way that will make a more positive outcome, if that makes sense. You can take a negative circumstance or situation and make it into something positive. That's something so incredible to understand, that you can actually lessen the overall occurrence of negativity in negative situations around you by being the positive green light there. Always remember that. So it's not like everything is out of your control. You can have control, you can have impact here, and you can influence it for the better. That's my words of wisdom for today, and I would love to hear everyone's feedback here, and thank you.